What's going on, guys? Zach here. So I'm doing things a little bit different today. I'm not doing the typical format of hiding behind the computer. I wanted to actually show my face because this is how I usually do the live streams. For you guys that are new to the live streams, you'll know that usually I don't do a lot of the screen share, like because of the fact that we're doing the 30-day challenge or the 30-day launch plan, I should call it. I've not really been doing the face ones. Now, with that being said, there are going to be a mix over the next probably, we got another 4 weeks to go, right? This week, just so you know, has really just been the foundation. It's just been to get your mindset right. Like, it wasn't about like tactics, because a lot of people are always asking about like this tactic or that tactic, or what about this or what about that. And the problem is the fact that like they're confused, they're overwhelmed, and they're trying to learn more tactics, and that's not the answer. Like, if your mind is not wired right up here, I don't care what you do, you're not going to hit success. You're just not. And morning, everyone. I see you guys commenting. So this one's going to be short and sweet and to the point, and it's a question that I get asked all the time, and people are like, Zach, how do you not get overwhelmed? So first thing I want to do is I want to clear up something that I used to get overwhelmed when I wasn't very clear. I used to get overwhelmed at points in my business when I wasn't very crystal clear on what I wanted. And every time I've got crystal clear, I got right back on my internal GPS, right? So what I want to do is I want to first talk about what you need to do. So somebody asked me, and I believe it was Ruth that threw this question, because I surveyed my paid members in the Top Earner Mentor community and said, all right, so what questions do you guys have? Because I'm mapping out this 30-day plan based on what you guys struggle with and what you need help with. And one of the things she said is, how do you work on your mindset other than straight line leadership? And the very answer to that question is I read Straight Line Leadership. You know, when people ask me questions and variations of like, what about this, what about that? And I know if they're reading the book. There's a reason for that. Like, in my opinion, there's not a single person on the face of this earth, if they're reading 3 chapters of that book every single day, like, you're going to work your stuff out. You're going to work your stuff out, because if you're reading it every day, you're creating a habit. It goes back the whole week, right? And guys, I appreciate you smashing the like button. I haven't even had to say smash the like button so other people can see it. I'm paying attention. But if you're reading 3 chapters every single day, just like I work with my one-on-one coaching students, you're creating a habit. And that one habit that you're doing by just sticking to one thing. Remember when I asked everybody, how many of you guys have stuck with something for 1 year? And like, nobody said yes. And I can tell you that like that book, the more I stick to it, the more I see it carrying over in all areas of my life. Because every time I read it, something like, how are you showing up? Are you present or are you committed? So one of the lessons in Straight Line Leadership, right, it talks about even like children, like if you're a parent. And it talks about there's a big difference between being a parent who's just there, like a parent that's at the football game, right, with their kids, or the parent that's committed and is actually there rooting them on and paying attention. They're not on their cell phone flipping through, checking out what's on Instagram. Like, how many of you guys, give me a yes, a digital yes, and hold up your hand. Have you seen people that are with their children, and their children are talking to them, and they're literally on their phone like, yep, okay, yep. There's a commercial out right now. It cracks me up. And the kid is like talking to his mom and then talking to his dad. And the mom's on her iPad and the dad's on his cell phone. And they're both like, yep, And the kid's just like, what? Like, literally. And that's how people are, right? So I want you to go get the book Straight Line Leadership. Guys, I literally have no advantage to tell you to go read this. I'm not getting an affiliate commission like when I tell you to go get Expert Secrets. Like, I still believe that everybody should have the book .com Secrets and Expert Secrets, but I get no commission from telling you to read this book other than it will change your life. Read 3 chapters every single day. I'm telling you. If you stick to it for this year, and you really stick to it, and you don't have a change in your life, I want you to come to me at the end of the year if you can honestly look me in the face, and I'll give you $100 if nothing has changed in your life. That's how committed I am to it. Now, let's get to the problem, because the reason people are overwhelmed, or they feel overwhelmed, or they feel frustrated, or they feel anxiety, or they feel depression, is because they don't clearly define what they want. And when you don't define what you want, you don't know what to do. Right? You don't know what to do. So that's why you're overwhelmed, because you know that you should be doing stuff. You know that you should be out there like learning things, but you're not sure what you should learn or where you should focus your time and energy on, because you haven't defined what you should do. So therefore you don't know how to define what action steps you should take. Does that make sense? This is why I taught you vision a few days ago. This is why I taught you the power of vision, because if you can't decide and clearly state, this is who I want to become, this is what I want to achieve, it's going to be very hard to define what are the action steps you take to get what you want. And that's why most people are wandering around in this world and they're miserable and they're overwhelmed and they're stressed and they have anxiety because they haven't clearly defined what they want. And I'm not just talking about business, guys. I'm talking about in all areas of their lives. I'm talking most people, even in their relationship, right? Just somebody that will show them love is enough. They have no standards. If somebody will pay attention to them and be there for them, that's good enough. They don't even have clear defined standards of what they want that person to represent, how they want that person to think. Like, I literally do not let anybody in my world, whether it be people that are in my inner family close to me, to put their chitter chatter in my brain if it's negative. I don't allow to have, somebody in an actual personal relationship like my girlfriend. I have my girlfriend reading this fucking book, guys. I'm not even joking. She's not in business, but she reads the book every night. I'm not even kidding. Like, you got to define every area of your life and what you want and why you want it and why it's important to you. Fill it with emotions and know where you're going. Because once you define what you clearly want, then it's very easy to define what to do. So I want to use an analogy for you. I've been using this for years. And when people say they're overwhelmed, right? I want you to think about that you walk into a library. And you go into the library and then all of a sudden you look around and you're like, oh my God, I don't know what to do. It's too many books. Too many books. Do you do that? No. You walk straight to the aisle that you're going to go to. You check out one book if you're smart, not 20. And you go through that book. And then later you go back and check it back in and you get another book. This is exactly how you do things in business, right? You take one book at a time. Mastery, not dabbling. This is how you end overwhelmed. When you're overwhelmed, you just sit back and think about, what is the solution to my problem? So here's the 3-step solution when you feel overwhelmed to what to do. Number 1, ask, and if you see me like looking off to the side, it's because I got notes and I want to make sure I get everything here. Number 1 is ask yourself, why do you feel overwhelmed? I learned this from Tony Robbins years ago. If you ask yourself the right questions, you'll get the right answers. But most people, when they're overwhelmed, here's what they do. Oh my God, I have this problem, and this is making me feel like crap, and this is not fair. And what happens is they go on that open loop from hell. If you've read the book, The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck, you know what I'm talking about. And he basically just talks, it's about an open loop. And you just constantly just go in that circle about how you're feeling overwhelmed, you're feeling frustrated, you're feeling stressed, but you never sit back and ask yourself, why am I even feeling this way? That's step number 1. Step number 2 is to define the problem. Or not define what you want. So what are you trying to achieve, in other words? Because usually when you feel overwhelmed, it's because you feel there is some kind of problem or roadblock stopping you to get to where you want it. So if you do that exercise I talked about your vision, you're going to know what you're trying to achieve. Example, I'm trying to make $10,000 a month in Amazon FBA. Well, I feel stressed. I don't know where to start. I don't know what to do. I don't know who to follow. Well, if you get crystal clear on what you're doing, then you could sit back and say, okay, what do I feel is the solution to, and guys, I don't do Amazon FBA. I'm just using a random example in my head. So the third step is to ask yourself, what is the solution to the problem? So basically, the solution obviously is an action you take. So I would sit back if it was me, and I would say, okay, I'm new to this. I'm trying to learn Amazon FBA. Who can I learn from that's already achieved what I want to achieve? And secondly, do I feel like they're a trustworthy person, or do I feel like they just created a course and whipped it up to make more money? That would be the first thing I would do. And then if I got to that point, I'm like, okay, I buy the course. That would be the next step, the next action plan, right? Now, of course, the next step would not be, hey, let me go launch my first product, and I'm just going based on knowledge I know about Amazon FBA. It would not be like, hey, let me just hurry up and go make some money quick. It would be like, I need to first go through this course, take notes, and then once I go through the course, I need to ask myself, what doesn't make sense? And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through those modules again so that way I'm clear. And if I still have a question after that, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to reach out and ask my mentor. Give me a yes if that makes logical sense to you. Instead of like stressing myself out and saying, I don't know what I want, I don't know what to do, I've defined my objective, right? My objective is I want to make money with Amazon FBA. Then I said, what's the solution to make money with Amazon FBA? So now the solution is I go find a mentor who's already achieved those results. I'm going to buy a course on Amazon FBA. And then to go one level deeper, I'm like, okay, now let's go through the course. And then after I go through the course, if I don't have clarity, I go through the things again that I need to get clarity. And then the final step is ask my mentor if I'm unclear so I can get clear. So you got to map things down one step at a time and not focus on like the problem in the moment. Like I see so many people get caught up on like tech things and like, I don't know how to do this. I don't know how to do that. What's the solution? Okay. I'm trying to set up ClickFunnels. This squeeze page is very frustrating. I referenced this tutorial, but it still doesn't quite register in my head. So now let me go to ClickFunnels. Let me look at their documentation and read it and see if that makes more sense. Then if I got there and that didn't make more sense, then I'd be like, okay, I'm just going to submit a ticket to ClickFunnels and ask them to show me how to do this. Do you see, I don't get frustrated. And guys, this is my process. I set up the affiliate program for Top Earner Mentor. And even though I know how to use ClickFunnels very well, I'm like, oh man, again, like I got to do something again that I don't know how to do. So I referenced the tutorials, and then I actually went and submitted a ticket and said, hey, can you check to make sure I did this right? This is my process of how I do things. Now, tips to not get overwhelmed. Number one, we're gonna go back to some of the stuff we talked about over the week, right? And I'm gonna give you guys homework at the end just so you know. Tip number one is eliminate distractions. I'm talking things like social media, endless consuming of content, especially if it's not relevant to what you're doing, and not focusing on one business model. You know, I see so many people out there that are trying to build multiple streams of income and multiple businesses, but they don't even have like one successful business. I really don't see the logic there personally. Like I have a hard enough time focusing on like two businesses, like at my level, let alone trying to do like multiple businesses at once. That's why people have no focus is right. They're buying course after course after course, and they never even actually go through the course, which logic tells you if you don't go through a course, you probably won't be able to know how to do something. Now, tip number two, consume only 20% and action 80%. I'm a huge consumer, just so you know. I'm consuming every single night. Literally, every single night I'm consuming. But the difference is I'm taking way more action taking, so I never get overwhelmed. This is where most people get overwhelmed, right? They're listening to podcasts every day from like literally 10 different podcasters. They're on multiple live streams every day, watching different YouTubers on many different lists. And so therefore they are overwhelmed because all they're doing is taking in, but then they don't even know where to start because guru number one says this, guru number two says this, Zach tells me to do this. What the hell do I do? Like if you're constantly consuming and you're not action taking on that, and we're going to talk about how to and I think it's week 2. I got to look at my thing and how I teach you guys the content. But I'm going to teach you my invest, learn, teach strategy. I didn't actually learn that myself. I didn't come up with it. I learned it from Ray Higdon. But it's pure genius, right? You invest, you learn, you teach, and this gets the stuff out of your head. And then from there, you're not constantly overwhelmed with all that information you're consuming. Now, don't study or learn things that you're not committed to right now. We talked about that yesterday, right? You write down your action list, right? You write down your action list. What am I committed to do right now? And then from there, everything else doesn't matter. So here's an example of this. Like right now, I told you guys yesterday, like one of my things is I know I want to also do Facebook ads, right? But I can't put all my energy in mastering YouTube to get ahead while everybody is focusing their efforts on Facebook if like I'm doing both at the same time. Because now my results are scattered, my ad budget is scattered compared to if I went all in on one thing. I'm going to master it. Then I can always add the second thing, right? So the thing is for me, it doesn't make any sense to study anything about Facebook ads to get better at it if I don't plan on implementing it right now. Does that make sense? Like, so example, like if I wanted to learn YouTube and I was in your case and I was like, you know, I know I need to do YouTube, but right now I'm going all in on Instagram because that's what I feel more comfortable with. Well, that's fine, but don't study stuff about YouTube because now you're putting more information in your head. You have no intention of using it, and that's where the overwhelm comes in. Give me a yes if you've done that before, where basically like you're studying things that like you could do someday, but you're not committed to doing it right now. I guarantee you this is what creates overwhelm because you're taking in information that you have no intention of using this very moment, and there's nowhere to put it. You have nothing to do with it. I went to my settings and shut down targeted ads. Now I don't have gurus popping up to distract me. It's a good idea. All right, so last tip. Anytime you're overwhelmed, stop, grab a pad of paper, and define what you want. So clearly define what you want and what actions you need to get it. So in other words, whatever you feel is overwhelming you, right? Ask yourself the right questions. What makes me feel like overwhelmed this moment? and then actually, like, what do I need to do that? Don't use your cell phone. Don't just use your mind. A pad of paper and a pen. Like, look, guys, I'm not even joking. Like, I don't want to flip this around. Wait, actually, I can. Here we go. So I got a pad of paper and pen there. That's my daily to-do list that I talk about all the time. I got these pads of paper. Look at this, like endless pads of paper there, there, there. I literally, like, I'm old school. And some of the things that are old school are actually good. There's a reason pad and paper and pen and not like your mind is because I learned this from Think and Grow Rich. You're actually manifesting it in your mind to your subconscious when you physically write it down. It's kind of like when people teach about affirmations, if you ever heard that, where they say it's like one thing to read your goal, but it's another thing to say it out loud, and it's because like your subconscious learns it better. Well, it's the same thing with like pen and paper. So like write down so you can clearly think like, why do I feel upset? Why do I feel stressed out? Why do I feel depressed? And then get to the layer, well, why does that make me feel this way? What do I think can solve this problem right now? That's how you figure out the logical steps of what actions you take in what order without just doing everything and then you just feel like your life's a mess. Like a lot of people are trying to do like 5 things at once and like that's why you're stressed out, right? I'm laser focused just today. Like today, I'm going to see the movie Upside with Kevin Hart. That's my focus. That's my laser focus today. Tomorrow, here's what we're going to go off a little tangent here, right? So I'm teaching my dad a very valuable lesson as to why we should not buy our dream $1 million home in Indiana. So originally our idea was like, we're going to go get this like $1 million home where I'm going to hold masterminds at the home and it's literally right on the lake. So we go out in the back porch and the lake's right there. But the problem is we get so much snow, right? So tomorrow there's going to be like 6+ inches of snow. Well, guess what? Zach's not getting his ass out there and shoveling that because that's minimum wage activity. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to watch him from the door as he's shoveling. Looks very, very miserable out there. I'm going to wave to him. Then when he comes inside, I'm going to say, see, next year we could be in Florida where the real weather is. And we don't got to do that stuff. See, I learned this from Tony Robbins. Sometimes you have to associate pain before you actually want to make a change. I know I'm kind of messed up. All right, so here is the formula I follow, right, when I am stressed out. What is the long-term goal? So it goes back to vision, right? What is the long-term goal? So this is the objective I want to hit. Example, I used the example yesterday. I want to get 100 leads a day with Facebook ads, right? 100 leads a day with Facebook ads. Now, what is the best this is step number 2. What is the best possible action to take to achieve that? So what is the thing that I need to do? So basically what I'm going to do, once again to summarize it, is look for other people who have achieved the objective and the result that I want, right? Now, number 2 is model what they did. If you don't know how to actually get that result, then learn how to do it. It's literally that simple. I learned this from Tony Robbins too, not just the pain concept. You look at what somebody that's got the result you want, now you model everything they did. Literally everything. I heard Russell talk about this with Funnel Hacking Live, right? And he said everybody gets this funnel hacking like process wrong. Like they think like the answer is you just go opt into somebody's funnel and then you pretty much model the funnel, right? He goes, but they're not looking at everything. He goes, you got to look at literally everything. Like the part of the funnel that like I think Russell doesn't explain so well is top of the funnel. The top of the funnel is content. Like this is where a lot of people like that are refusing to do video. Like, and I really think like you got to get out of your head and start doing video. Is like think about it right now. There's no better way to bond with somebody than video, right? You guys can see it. Like, I cannot fake here my true personality because you can see it. I'm a smartass. So why would I hide that? A lot of you guys are putting this stuff in your head. I want to go off on another tangent really quick. Right before I got on here, right, I seen Sebastian make a post on his Facebook page, right? And he said when he originally started, his mentor, I believe he was talking about me. Maybe it's somebody else because I was like his first mentor. If not, I won't take credit for it. Maybe it was somebody else. Point being is, he basically said his mentor told him from day one is that you got to generally care about people. That's the answer. It's not about flashing your income. Now I think about it, I'm pretty sure it's me. So it's not about flashing your income. It's not about, showing off what you own and all this stuff. And he said that even though he heard that, in his head, he went against the grain and did what he thought he needed. So he started showing like how much money he was making, and he started talking about like, how easy it is to do this and that. And he said that what he found out is that he attracted a lot of opportunity seekers that are really people he doesn't want to do business with. They're looking just to get rich quick. And these people don't care about what he has to say. They just wanted to know, how can I make money? And then when he switched it and went back to focusing on actually just generally giving a shit about people and caring about them, because you can't fake sincerity, right? And he focused on, how do I deliver good content that will help people? He had a way better business. See, a lot of you guys are getting in your head and you think like, when you create content, you need to do this like epic stuff, and you don't. You just need to care. Like if you take the focus off yourself, I told somebody this the other day, one of my one-on-one coaching students, and they were having problems with like creating content, right? And I said, here's what I want you to realize. The reason I suggest for people to start like affiliate marketing is because you get to sell other people's proven products while you learn marketing. There's no better thing to learn than selling. When you can sell anything. You can sell e-commerce products. You can sell coaching. You can sell, somebody else's products, your own products one day if you want to do that. But you learn the number one thing, which is marketing and sales. And the thing is you can focus on getting your message down, which later you can actually do that stuff. But the point being is what I told her is that you are your market. Like right now, you're saying, I don't know what to do. I'm trying to figure this out. I'm trying to figure that out. So you write your copy, you make your videos to that problem. But you don't talk about yourself, you talk about them. Do you guys notice I don't really talk about myself too much? I make fun of myself all the time. I try to throw myself under the bus. If I squeak my voice, I try to make fun of myself to make you guys laugh. If you can entertain people, if you can be yourself and generally show that you care and you're not just some like con artist trying to take people for a ride, like people are going to buy from you because they feel like, man, this person is really here to help me. They're a cool person. There's a reason that I don't like show off things like how much money I'm making every day and what stuff I own. Like it's kind of like on my wall, you see pictures of my girlfriend and you always see my dad, and like I'm a family guy. I'm not some guy trying to like show off how cool I am. If you just be yourself, every single one of you guys have value. You can help somebody. And if you focus on helping them and not so much on helping yourself, it's kind of funny how the process works, that it ends up being that you get help too. It's kind of funny how that works, right? When you make it a win for them, it's also a win for you. You get out what you put in this universe. So if you focus on other people, then you get back what you want. So if you want to be happy, you focus on making other people happy first, and it makes you happy. I learned this concept when I was in the Philippines, and I literally was broke and had no money. And every time I tell this story, I feel like the cold chill coming up my spine, because it reminds me every time of why being humble is the answer. I was literally broke and almost had no money, right? I'm sitting in the Philippines crying in my room, and I'm not even joking. I was cursing God. I feel bad about this, but I was just like, why me? Just tell me the answer right now. Like I'm trying so hard. And then I kept getting this obsessive feeling that I need to go out and like just give money to other people. And I'm like, I have no clue what this is, but I'm willing to try anything. I'm just going to do it. So I went and took $300 out of my bank account, which I didn't really have to give. I was down to like $3,000 a month, right? Another $2,000 I already invested into business, which I got the weird insight that I should invest in this business, which I had no intentions of investing in it. And then he wanted me to go and basically give away money that I didn't have, right? So I took out another $300, rented a moped, drove around Cebu, Philippines, and just gave out money to people that needed it more than me. And there was one girl at this 7-Eleven who was working an 18-hour shift, had not even bought her kids presents, which I didn't know this, but I got like some chili and rice, which is a bad thing to eat, by the way, when you're trying to get in good shape. And it was like 89 cents. Let's say it was 89 cents. And I give her like $25. And I'm like, no, you keep it. And she's like, no, like what? No, here. I said, no, you keep it. Merry Christmas. And she literally just started flooding with tears and like gave me a hug, couldn't even like get words out. And then she's like, oh my God, you're an answer to my prayers. I literally I'm working 18 hours a day and I don't even have money to give my kids Christmas presents. And now I get to go home and give them something. And I literally went home and cried like a baby. I remember calling my parents. I'm like, oh my God, I was thinking about myself and like all the problems I have and how like things aren't going right in my life. Like what the hell? And then I wrote an email and a social media post that Santa Claus has tattoos. Some of the people who have been following me, like Ruth and Jimbo, probably remember this. And I told that story, and it was like crazy. 40 days later, roughly 45 days later, I made 40 grand. Now, I don't know about you, but I do believe in a higher power. Whether you want to call it God, you want to call it something else, I'm not here to tell you about what you believe spiritually or not spiritually. But something was giving me a calling as to stop focusing on yourself, Zach, and focus on other people. Which is what I'm going to tie this into, is why I just told you this story in a minute. But once I actually started doing that, it's funny, my life got easier because I realized in that moment that I can't focus on me. I got to focus on the people that are listening. And I guarantee you, if you're not making money, that's the reason, is because you're always thinking about where you're currently at, and you're in that open loop of hell where you're constantly focused on where you're at, and you're not focused on putting the focus on other people, so therefore you're always overwhelmed and confused on what to do. So here's the thing, right? People are focusing on the wrong things, as I just told you. Now, I didn't plan to tell you that story, but it just kind of hit me as I realized, and I read this next bullet point, which is people focus on the wrong things. So what people are focused on is like new tactics, followers, getting fame, being popular on social media. But fame does not make you money, my friend. It does not make you money. Here's what makes you money. You define your niche, meaning the people that you're speaking to. One person. Even though I'm talking to right now 22 people live, I'm talking to one person. Have you heard me say guys? Maybe if I did, it was by accident. I usually say you. I'm talking to one person. 2, you got to define the problem they have in the niche. Notice I did not say define your problem. I said define their problem. I'm going to teach you how to do all this stuff. It's easier than you think, and I guarantee you, once you see it, if you actually have been listening to all these mindset things that I've taught you this week, it's really going to tie back. So you define their problems, right? Now, number 3 is you create content and messages to speak to those people. So instead of talking about your lack of what you're getting in your business, instead of talking about, like, I don't know what to say, I don't know what to do, you figure out what their problems are. Now you create content that's based on their problems, and that draws them to you. This is the first part of the magnetic conversion engine, aka a sales funnel. Top of funnel is content and messaging, not the funnel. The funnel means nothing without the messaging at the beginning. It's got to resonate to them. Now, number 4, you make offers to solve their problem. It doesn't need to be your offer. It can be somebody else's offer that can help them. See how simple that is? It's a 4-step process. Define your audience. Define the problems the audience has. Create content to speak to that audience. Make offers. That's it. That's where your focus should be. And when you do that, your life will change very, very quickly. So here's your homework. Here's your homework. It's not going to be boring homework like teachers give. If you've not crafted your vision in detail, I want you to go back and watch that video again and then define what you want, because that's going to define how you actually figure out what action steps you take. Even though I'm sharing all this process for you and what I believe is the logical steps that you need to learn in order to put it all together, unless you're paying me for one-on-one coaching, I'm not going to sit down and literally say, okay, Mary, here's what you do. Step 1, step 2, step 3. So you're going to have to figure out what are your logical action steps. I'm making it as logical as I possibly can, but you're going to have to sit down and actually map it out yourself, right? So you got to know clearly what do you want. And it's not just in business, but like, what do you want in life? Because if you don't know what you want in life, a lot of times you can be doing things that just doesn't make sense logically. Like right now, I'm building a business that's guiding me to where I want to go. This is just a milestone on the way to what I'm really building, my 100x opportunity, which will happen next year. And no, I'm not going to share that until I release it. But the point being is, you've got to clearly know what you want. I'm talking everything from like the business you want, what you want your perfect day to look like, what car you want to drive, what you want to do for your family, how that's going to make you feel, especially emotionally, what you want people to think about you 1 year, 3 years, 5 years from now. And once you know that, it's going to be very important for what we just talked about what to focus on, because when you have a vision, remember what I said, when you have a vision, you are powerful. And the reason being is most people do not. 99% of people in this world do not have a vision for their life. So therefore, they don't know what they want, right? And then all of a sudden they come across you and they're like, damn, this person, like the way they speak, the way they write, the way they just show up in life, like they obviously know what they want. And I don't know what I want, but I want to figure out what they're on, and I want to get some of that. Like that's what happens when you have a vision, right? Because most people don't have a vision, so therefore they plug into yours. And this is why I'm trying to teach you. Like I'm not just doing the marketing, right? I'm revealing the magician's hand, teaching you the secrets. You know, I changed and anybody that's followed me for years knows I hate the word secret. But I got tired of fighting an uphill trend where people think they're secrets, right? So I changed the group to Affiliate Marketing Secrets because I know that's going to pop off later this year, especially when I start pushing ads to it. But then, once you're in, right? Once you're in my community, I can give you what you want, aka the secrets, but then I can give you what you need, which is the non-secrets. That there is no secret. It's just you don't know what you don't know. But once you know it, it becomes the known. So, with that being said, guys, I want you to take the weekend, do a little bit of thinking, maybe go see Upside 2 if that's your flavor of the week. and just start getting clear on your vision, because next week is where the rubber meets the road. That's where we're going to actually start putting all this stuff together and connecting all the dots. I could have easily just jumped in like I always do in teaching tactics and technicals and all this stuff, but it's not going to help if you don't actually have a vision of what you want. Fred, did you post yesterday's slides in the comments for the homework? Yes, I did. Not in the actual main live stream. If you go into the units inside of the group, you'll see it's in there. I've added it in the units, so there's a link to actually download the slides. And I added, I think it was like day, I guess that would be day 3. I added day 3s as well. I didn't add day 2 or 1, I believe, because of the fact that it had testimonials, and I don't like somebody else having the power to use that stuff and put it out there and pretend they're being me. But yesterday and day 4, or day 4 and day 3, I did upload them if you go to the units. All right, guys, with that being said, I hope you guys have a fabulous weekend, and I will see you back on Monday, same time, same place.